evening and welcome to This Is The Day. My name is Sarah Otieno. We are live on Family TV and also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. And the WhatsApp number to contact us from is 0786 316 316, SMS line 20316. And let's get talking. If you're a parent or maybe basically this conversation, it's for all of us. It's obesity in children. And this is something that is affecting a lot of people right now. You look around town, you're walking maybe in a mall, and you even have PT for children because their weight, you're not even related to them, but you can already feel them panting. And unawaonea huruma, reason being a lot of children are overweight, especially in our society right now. And globally, if not in Kenya, the number is wanting, and apparently it's rising at a very high rate. Well, what is causing obesity in our children? How can we curb this? That is what we are discussing today. And I have in studio a lady who confused me a little bit because she looks so much like her sister. Her name is Sylvia Opanga. She's a clinical pharmacist and a senior lecturer at University of Nairobi. Hello.
Hi, how are you, Sarah?
Fine, thank you.
Nice to meet you, and sorry for the confusion. It happens
You look so
all
much
the time.
like Linda, you know.
No, she looks like me because I am older.
Ah, yeah, I know. Anyway, thank you so much for making time. Can you tell us a little bit about Sylvia?
Well, Sylvia is a senior lecturer at the University of Nairobi. I teach clinical pharmacy. I have a PhD in clinical pharmacy.
Nice.
First in Eastern Central Africa. So,
Girl power.
yes, that's all I'll say about myself today.
All right.
Yes.
So we want to dive to this discussion, but before that, let us look at some of the statistics about obesity in our country. Cool.
Obesity in Kenya is tightening its grip with the rise of urbanization and rapid dietary changes. World Health Organization reported that an estimated 41 million children under the age of 5 years are overweight or obese globally. The report further stated that in Africa alone, the number of children under 5 years who are overweight had increased by nearly 50% since the year 2000. Experts are now warning that if nothing is done, the world will have more obese children and adolescents than underweight ones by the year 2022. Adding that the trend predicts a greater risk of non-communicable diseases, including diabetes, kidney, lung, and heart diseases.
Well, that is one thing. We have 41 million children worldwide who are considered obese. So what does it mean to be obese?
Well,
Linda, to you.
Let us look at two classifications. There's one overweight, and then there's obesity.
Yeah.
So, who is an overweight child? So when you're taking the weights of children, you take what is called the BMI per clusters. The clusters where we cluster them are called percentiles.
Yes.
So you look at the percentile of the BMI for the children, okay? So if it's above, if it's between 85 to 95%, that's an overweight child.
Overweight, not an
Yes.
obese.
Now, obesity comes when it's over 95%.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So there's a certain
Criteria.
okay.
Yes, there's a certain criteria because now for adults, we just use the BMI, which is body weight over height in meters squared. Now, for children, because you have children developing at different stages, and the weight and the BMI will differ whether it's a girl or a boy.
Yeah.
It will also differ at what stage of development they are, and that's why we tend to group them into percentiles instead of just using the BMI alone.
All right. I like that. And considering all the factors that you've said and all the way you do it as professionals, you know, you walk across the streets this day and you see a child panting. They literally cannot walk because they're, I would like to say, overweight. So can the body size of a person determine whether they're obese or not? Am I overweight too?
So what happens is the amount of body fat.
Body fat.
Yes, body fat. And when you see a child struggling to walk and a child struggling to breathe, then that should be something of concern. Yes.
And what causes these children to actually have this I don't, is it a condition, is it a disease, what is
Several causes.
Yeah.
Number one, so principally what you take in, how much calories does your child take in,
Mhm.
how much do they expend.
Mhm.
So obesity is basically you're expending less than you're taking in.
Okay.
Now it can be caused by several things. Number one, what are the portions of your child's food?
Mhm.
What kind of food are they eating? Is it full of fat and carbohydrates?
Yeah.
Yeah. So too much intake with large portions of
Mhm.
carbohydrates and fats.
Mhm.
Too much sugary drinks, a lot of sodas and a lot of juices. So that is about the diet.
So
Then-
sugar plays a role in the diet.
Huge role,
Yeah,
huge
yeah,
role in
mhm.
weight gain.
Mhm.
And then we have the second thing is, does your child exercise? Is the child always in front of the TV?
Mhm.
Are they always on their tablet? Can they do anything to be physically active?
Mm-hmm.
So physical activity, number 2.
Yeah.
Number 3, there are some conditions which are genetic. Some children are born and they inherit disorders of metabolism of lipids.
Yeah.
So that you find that lipids are not easily broken down, unlike the normal children.
Mhm.
So they might have that. Then the other one, you might have actually children on medication
Mhm.
that causes them to gain weight. For example, you can put a child on steroids who is maybe suffering from asthma or
Mhm.
cancer,
Mhm.
and then that long-term treatment with such medicines can make them gain weight. So there are many, many causes, but the most common, diet, exercise.
All right.
Genetics play a very
Small
small
role.
percentage.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
All right.
Mm.
And you've talked about diet and exercise as the major causes.
Mm.
And I'm just tempted to ask, can we say the lifestyle of today can also be a cause of obesity, especially in our children?
Mhm.
Because we used to play a lot of games. Mi nilikuwa nacheza kalongolongo. I don't know whether you played
Yeah,
that.
I did. We
Chababa.
skipped ropes.
We skipped ropes,
Yeah,
you know?
we were running around,
Mhm.
hide and seek and all that.
Yeah.
And then the children of today, they're on their PlayStations.
Yeah.
The kids are on their tablets.
Yes.
The kids are watching TV. So there's very little physical activity. And then again, where do the children live?
Yeah.
We no longer have playgrounds.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
like, I stay in some flats and I pity the kids there because sometimes you find them riding bikes in the parking lot, which is
Mhm.
dangerous.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that is limiting kids' activities.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. Continue sending in your questions and comments. And if you have any point to add on to this discussion, please feel free. The WhatsApp number to use is 0786 316 316, SMS line 20316, and also on Facebook and Twitter. That is at Family Radio 316. And let us get talking. Obesity in our children is extreme. You know, the statistics said earlier that the under 5, the number of obesity in children under 5 will be rising by 50%.
That's very alarming, but that's something to be expected, especially with the dietary issues of these days.
Mhm.
And sometimes parents are too busy for their children. You don't know what your child is being fed on while you're away.
Yeah.
So that's something of concern, yes. Yeah, we really need to be worried about our young children. And then, even if they're going to school, what snacks are you packing for
Yeah,
your child?
sure.
You know, people tend to buy juices, chips, crisps, popcorn, stuff that will really just cause your child to gain weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you talked about parents, and can you say that parents are to blame because of the high rates of obesity in our children?
Well, contributing factor, yes, not totally to blame.
Mm-hmm.
But where it comes in is that what is the diet you're feeding your child on?
Yeah.
Are you allowing your child to exercise as well?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you find that sometimes parents are too busy. Life these days is very, very busy.
Mhm.
And sometimes you leave your child with your help
Yeah.
and they just go and buy chips. Yet they could have cooked managu and something at home, you know? Yeah. So parents have a role to play,
Mm-hmm.
especially in combating this. I will not blame anybody.
Yeah.
But I know that if a child is obese, a parent has a role to play in actually preventing or stopping that if it's already happened.
All right. You'd mentioned managu, and I remember I have a nephew who would say, "Mami kani managu misikuli." Ama he would even fake that he's not feeling okay.
Oh.
Ama ni kali, you know. And this is how this child has been brought up, you know. And if you ask me clearly, then you said parents have a role, but I would say it's a very big role.
It is.
It's a very big role, because what you feed your child from the start, really, it will even determine the behavior they grow up in, the eating behavior, right?
And the thing is that when your child starts out obese young, chances are they will grow just like that. They will enter their older ages obese, and they're at risk of things like high blood pressure, heart disease, fatty liver disease, you know, those kind of things. Yeah, even joint problems. Yeah.
All right. We have someone who texted in. Hi, definitely define the calories in layman, because we keep on hearing and don't take too much calories. So please help Roy understand calories in layman.
Okay.
And what is the correct amount?
In layman's language, calories are basically what is in your carbohydrates and what is in your fats. Okay?
Okay. And these two foods are the ones that contribute to obesity, right?
A lot, yes. So what is contained in that gives you energy? It's more like what is energy giving within the carbohydrates and the fats. Yes. So basically, in layman's language, that's how far I can go in defining that.
Yeah.
And then again, the normals will range. When you're talking about children, it will range with the age. Yeah, so I cannot give a standard figure, but it ranges with the age of the child. Yes.
All right, and do you know in most of the packs, the food packs, it's actually indicated.
Yes, they indicate that.
It's indicated.
These days they indicate the calories per age or what someone is supposed to consume on the pack. And again, this is something that we need to follow. Yeah, we need to follow this.
All right. Someone else is texting in, anasema, I like the discussion. I have a 3-month-old baby and she is gaining weight at a very high rate. Should I be worried about obesity?
Well, 3-month-old, you should be worried if the limits for a 3-month-old have been exceeded. The weight limits for a 3-month-old have been exceeded.
Yeah.
So if you think that your child is gaining weight very rapidly and they're tending towards the obese, it's good to have them seen by a pediatrician or a nutritionist to just see, are they within the normal or is the growth rate very fast?
But what causes it for a kid? I mean, Anna, she's only lactating, you know?
I know.
What causes it?
Disorders of lipid metabolism.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that means,
some of that can be genetic. Some of that can be genetic. You can even find, like in some children, you know, the thyroid gland. Yeah.
Yes.
It helps to. It helps you expend body energy. In some children, you might find they're having thyroid problems very young. Maybe the gland didn't form properly. There are many things. Yeah. So if the gland doesn't form properly, it doesn't produce enough hormones which will mobilize body fat out. So if you actually think that it's something to be worried about, see a pediatrician and let them just assess the patient.
All right. And what about for the weaning kids? Because I remember some time back, a friend of mine complained to me that I only give my baby porridge, and sometimes I add some milk and blue band to the porridge. Sometimes when she's doing avocado, maybe she adds some milk to the juice to feed the kid.
Milk to the juice?
Yeah, the avocado juice.
Oh.
Yeah. And that made the baby like
really big.
So are there some teeny gritty things that parents are doing, and especially if their babies are weaning, that make this baby obese and we do not know?
Don't put too much fat in a baby's food. Yeah, because when they were breastfeeding, there was not too much fat in the food.
Yeah.
Just limit how much. Don't put too much, too much blue band in porridge, lots of thick milk. Do stuff in moderation. Yeah.
And we also have some of this, what do we call them? The weaning food. Is it right to go by that? Because as per the directions, and I've come across some of them, these fat levels are a bit lower, the calories levels are a bit lower. So is it advisable to go with these weaning foods that are packed already for the kids to prevent obesity, especially in children?
What I prefer is natural food.
Yeah.
Blend natural foods, you know, vegetables, fruits, a bit of carbohydrates, bananas, you know, when you're weaning. Don't go. And some of this packaged food is very expensive. I just prefer to go natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that you don't, and some of this packaged food might also be over processed. You don't really need that for your child. So the more natural the food, the better. Fresh fruits and vegetables, you know, carbohydrates that you know. Yeah.
We have Lagat who is texting in. Thank you for the discussion. My question is, apart from focusing on changing on the diet and physical exercise, are there medications that obese or overweight kids can be given to cope with this condition?
Well, giving medication depends on the condition. You
Yeah.
don't give every child medication. What is the cause of this obesity? You remember, as I mentioned, you can have problems with glands in the body. You can have problems with lipid metabolism in the body. If that is diagnosed and identified, there is medication for that. Now, remember, some medication can actually cause weight gain.
Yeah, sure.
So you need to consult your pharmacist and see what is my child on, especially if they're on long-term medicines. You need to consult and see, is this medicine also contributing to weight gain in a child? Yeah, so not everything needs to be treated with medicine.
Yeah.
What you need to do is identify the cause. Then if it needs medication, then treat it. But most of the time it's just, what are you taking? Is the child active?
Hey, diet and exercise
Very important.
play a very big role here. So I'll ask a question. You know, I have seen a child who went into depression because they were a bit overweight and what we would call obese. Yeah. So apart from this, what are other effects of overweight, of being overweight to children?
Wow. The depression is there because these kids will go to school and be bullied.
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
everybody is going to swim. They can't fit into a costume.
Yeah.
It's psychological. They can't even concentrate, and sometimes it can affect their academics. Now, back to their health, obesity in children can lead to heart disease. It can lead to fatty liver disease. It can lead to joint problems because the weight actually presses on
the bones,
the bones and the joints. Yeah. The other thing is called sleep apnea, where you actually have disturbances in breathing when the child is asleep. Now that's dangerous.
Yes.
Yes, that's dangerous. Yeah. So they have difficulty in breathing. Sometimes they stop breathing for a while, then they resume breathing just because of
Just because of
the weight. Yeah. So weight is not something light we are talking about here.
A kid can just stop breathing and then and they're not in a coma or anything.
No. Just for a small period they stop. There are disturbances in breathing while they're asleep. So that's something, it's a red flag.
And this, I'm thinking, can actually cause a lot of harm in the body of
It
that
can.
child.
It can, yes. It can.
Whoa.
Mm.
What about the effects of socializing? You talked about the psychological effect and leading into depression. But look at this scenario. Here we are. We want to go play, let's say, how do they call Kalongolongo these days?
I have no idea. But
Do they even play?
somebody text. Somebody text
tell
and
us
tell
what
us.
they call Kalongolongo in these days, or do they even play it in the first place?
I have
So
absolutely
let's use
no
an
idea.
example of hide and seek, because at least I see children still playing that. And here you are, you're really overweight.
Can't run.
You cannot run. The social effect that it has on children, my goodness, it is too much.
And especially children who are in school and then teenagers. Can you imagine what that does to the teenagers?
Yes.
So it's something not to joke about, because the kids actually suffer. And then you go and watch TV and everybody is skinny and the way social media is nowadays. Then a kid goes into the mirror, they're like, okay, I don't fit into any of these stereotypes. So it actually can affect their self-esteem a lot.
I'm just thinking with the drastic change in fashion and the way we know girls in fashion. So here is a teenage girl, she's plumpy, she's overweight, she's obese, and she cannot fit into this beautiful top.
Jumpsuits.
You know,
Mm.
it's very unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
And then now you end up wearing jumpers because you cannot fit into this. And all this could just be controlled by some diet and some exercise.
Exactly.
We need to
Yeah.
take note of this.
We
We,
need to
have
take
Joseph Waweru on Facebook who's asking, what are the exact symptoms of obesity? Now, how do I know that my child is becoming obese? Yeah.
Angalia kitambi.
Re-
And that's something of concern, because once they're having a big belly, okay, what's happening? They can actually develop diabetes from that, because abdominal fat causes what is called insulin resistance. Then you can also look at the arms. Yes, look at the upper arm circumference. Is it beyond what is recommended for that age and that age group and that sex?
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between the girls and the boys. What's the difference?
Boys are more muscular, and sometimes the muscles girls tend to have more fat, boys tend to have more muscle. So basically that.
Yeah. So there's you should consider the fat and the muscles.
Yes.
So boys are more masculine, you know.
Girls
and
have a
fat.
little bit more body fat than
Body
boys.
fat. And this is not excess fat.
This is just like normally, physiologically.
All right. And what about when we have an issue? A child keeps having appetite for specific foods. Should that be an alarming point?
If it's very fatty food, if it's food that's not very healthy, then that's something that the parent needs to take into consideration. Parents should have a responsibility of making sure the children get a balanced diet, not one excess of something. And you have to be strict, because every day is not a day for eating chips and you refuse to eat vegetables. Children have to eat a balanced diet.
All right, I like that. Well, we also have another question by Jared Odhiambo, who is saying, I am tuned in and I love the you love the dress code. Asante sana. Jared, sawa tu, you're tuned in from Kisumu. Asante sana. How do you explain a situation where the parent and children are all obese? Is it because they are eating badly in the house and outside, or is it hereditary?
It could be both.
Yeah?
It could be both. Yeah, so you might find people who are genetically predisposed to be big. And then the same people are sedentary.
Yeah?
They don't exercise. They just keep eating, you know? So if there's a family predisposure, then it's up to the family to actually say, hey, we need to work out to be healthy.
Yeah.
We need to limit how much of this we eat. We need to eat a more balanced diet. Yeah.
Wow. Send in your questions and comments, because I am learning a lot when it comes to obesity in children. The WhatsApp number to use is 0786 316 316, SMS line 20316. For now, I want to look at what people are thinking about the issue of parents being to blame or not being to blame for obesity in our children. Let's have a listen.
I believe parents are contributing to childhood obesity. Kitambo, people used to take the traditional takes, the ngwashes, the ndomas, watoi walikuwa wanalelewa na mandizi and uji. Like, we just let them keep whatever junk that they take. We don't let them play out there. And we don't want them to kukula chakula za kienyeji, wasiambiwe wao bado hawajachanuka. So much as we are trying to keep up with the Western world, we end up destroying our kids.
My thinking is that one, as a teacher, I have observed even the kind of foods that parents are giving their children, the kind of food that we give children to carry for lunch. Foods are really in love with junk foods, and that's what is in obesity. I think we just need to change our style of feeding our children and appreciate mostly cultural foods.
Obesity comes in two ways. There is the genetics, and the genetic which comes with the heredity of genes from the parents, and there is the diet, the one that is caused by the diet. So in whichever case, it is the parents, because when you look at if it is genetical, it's an inheritance from the parents' genes that makes the child to have that obesity. If it is a diet, the children don't decide on the diet themselves, but the diet is decided by the parents. So whichever way, parents are major contributors.
Other kids, they are prone to be obese. So if parents keep giving them like fries, sausages, these days we have smokies around everywhere. So if kids keep asking for such stuff and you give them, and they are prone to be obese, they'll be obese.
Well, the question goes back to you. Do you think parents are to blame when it comes to the weight of our children, and especially children who are obese? Tell me, do you think they're responsible? Yeah? But in the meantime, I still have...
Not
I almost said Linda. Still
Not
have
Linda.
Sylvia in studio, and we are talking about the issue of obesity in children. So we talked about hereditary. You
Yes.
know, the genes being hereditary.
Yes,
They can
yes.
be inherited from parent to child. Can this be curbed? Like, can it be stopped somewhere so that as much as the parent is obese, the child cannot be?
Mm-mm.
It cannot?
Mm-mm.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So you cannot really stop something that's genetic, but you can prevent what happens to yourself when you're genetically predisposed.
Yeah.
Because there are actually people who are genetically predisposed that are not obese because they actually control their lifestyle, they control what they eat, they control their exercise.
All right.
So it's not a death sentence to have a genetic predisposition because, as I said, it plays a small percentage. A lot of it is your environmental and lifestyle
Yeah.
factors.
All right. And when do you notice that in now the hereditary section, when do you notice that? When do you start having the signs that anyway, this child now is obese? Is it when they're still an infant? Or will it come gradually as they grow?
Depends on the child. But what usually is, and again, what is the hereditary condition? Some of them present early, some of them present much later. But what about the family history?
Yeah.
Ask the mother, ask the father, is there anybody in your family? If there's a very close relative, a brother, a sister, a mother, you know, who has the same condition, chances are like the child can also get that. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of a question here, especially in teenagers. You know, they're still children. Can we have something like self-inflicted obesity?
Yes,
Especially
eating
in
disorders.
teenagers.
Eating disorders. You know, teenage comes with a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
Some teenagers, because of all these changes happening at puberty and through teenage, they might not be able to cope
Yeah.
with what's happening. So we can have people who are emotional eaters, much as we also have people who have anorexia and bulimia. We have people who are real emotional eaters. Like, when I feel stressed, let
I
me
will
rush for a
eat.
burger. Let me order pizza. Let me get fries. You know?
And it happens even for the grown-ups. Stress eating is real.
It is real.
Yeah?
Yes.
And this causes obesity, even just leave alone the children, even the grown-ups.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I get worried. I love pizza. So sometimes I pass by one of those places.
Your body weight is allowed. It's okay.
Occasionally, I don't do this every day.
Yeah.
But sometimes I get one person with a giant pizza eating that alone, and I'm like, really? Surely? Sometimes we do this to ourselves, you know, because that's not something you just sit down and then you have another 1 liter of soda, you know, stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's not stuff you do to yourself. Some of these things, you need to take them in moderation.
All right. From Facebook, we have Joski Shams, who's asking, just do away with Wi-Fi. Most of the children spend time... Just do away with Wi-Fi. Most of the children spend most of the time on gadgets, and I don't know what usually happens, because when you are internet, you feel hungry. When you're on internet, you feel hungry.
Is it?
So let children mostly play outside. Let them sweat and come back when they need food. And I feel
I
like
agree.
parents need to be tough. You know, sometimes we don't have to be softies. Yeah.
True. By the tough love, man. Tough love.
Yeah.
Because you cannot have a kid just plugged on a gadget.
Mhm.
First of all, they've woken up, amekaa tu hapo, you know. They cannot even do housework because there's a house help. You know, even housework, you can do it and it's some form of exercise.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So kids should just limit that time. But what is a 5-year-old doing with a gadget anyway?
Hey,
If they
it
must be
happens.
on those
In
gadgets.
the recent days, it happens.
But if the kids need to be on those gadgets,
Yeah.
limit that time.
Okay.
Or get them off completely. Yeah, just limit the time they're in front of a TV, limit the time they're in front of the PlayStation, take them out to play, take them out to run, take them out to take a walk, get them to ride bikes, you know, take them swimming. Kids must be active.
Okay. All right. Someone else is texting in here, but we'll be looking at this and much, much more. That is the questions and the comments that are coming in a few minutes. But for now, continue sending in. Do not be left out in this learning experience. If you have any kind of question, any kind of concern, also text in 0786316316. That is on WhatsApp, SMS line 20316. We'll be back shortly to talk about this, but for now, some music. I still have Sylvia Opanga in studio, and she is a clinical pharmacist and a senior lecturer at the University of Nairobi. We are talking about obesity in children, and a lot of questions are coming in. But for now, Sylvia, there's one question that has come in, and I feel we should start by this. How should one bring up the weight concern with an obese friend? In a caring way? Because there are people who are overweight but get offended and ask, nimenona wapi mimi? Yeah.
Tough love.
Yeah, tough
love, you know. Because when you bring this up, tell them to think about the health effects that weight is gonna have on them in future.
Yeah.
You know, because you're better off accepting what you're suffering from and losing the weight than being on the defense. So say it with love, you know. Don't because people don't want to be told, hey, you're fat. Hey, you look badly.
Put it in
Unakaa
Swahili.
vibaya, umenona.
Umenona.
Nobody wants to be told that because,
Yeah.
you know, definitely you go on the defensive, yeah? But then again, there are ways you can approach someone and say, hey, I feel like we need to be healthier. I feel like say it with empathy. I feel like we need to lose
To
weight
work
here
out,
and we need to work out. Can we go and work out somewhere? We just need to be perfectly fit, you know. Then this is what someone will that's when they open up, they say, you know, actually I've noticed nimegain kidogo. Yeah, so say it with empathy. Don't say it in a judgmental way.
And the choice of words, you know?
Choice of words is important. Speak like Jesus, please.
Speak like Jesus. Thank
Be
you.
nice.
Nice. Be nice. Speak like Jesus. I like that. Thank you, doctor, for the good information. I'm watching you. Her name is Catherine Karongo. Please insist that parents plan their home menu for balanced diet regardless of their business and who actually does the cooking. Yeah? Balanced menu diet.
Yeah.
Balanced diet menu.
It is important. As I said, your child is your responsibility. So even if you're busy, at least plan out what people are going to have for breakfast, lunch, dinner. It will be nice if your children are going to school to actually have home-cooked meals.
Yeah.
Which are balanced, you know, a good amount of protein, vegetables, high fiber foods, you know, not a lot of processed starch. Yeah. So that your child is having a good balanced diet. When you go home after work, everybody's having a balanced diet, not that you take away pizza every day because everybody is busy and tired, or you buy chips, or, you know, stuff. Just have some time to work out your meals per week, regardless of how busy you are, because it's your home anyway. You work for your home.
You know,
And
others
you work for your health.
Yes, and you know, someone would actually have that plan but not follow it.
Yeah, that's the other
There's also
thing.
the issue of discipline
And dedication.
Yeah.
Because it's actually your health and your family's health.
Wow.
And it's us women who actually carry that flag, you know. It's us to be responsible and say, what is my child eating? What are my family members eating?
All right. And we have someone else who's texting in, In a case where a child below 5 is overweight, would it be advisable to have a multidisciplinary intervention? Because even though they are gotten to start moving, it would be pointless if they still practice the same eating habits due to underlying causes like stress in the home or school needing the arrangement and the engagement of a counseling psychologist.
Yes, that's very important. When you're dealing with weight and any other health issues, it's always important to have a multidisciplinary approach.
Yeah.
If the child is going to school, involves the teachers. If the parents should be fully involved, the nanny should be involved. If the child is experiencing health problems, have a pediatrician look at the child, or the child's doctor. Counseling for the parents sometimes. Yeah. So a multidisciplinary approach is even better than just having one person intervening.
Okay. All right. We also have someone from Facebook who says her name is Doris Helen Candy, and this I'm sure is for lactating mothers. Let the mother eat a lot, maybe 6 meals a day, fewer big ones. Okay. Or fewer but big meals and balanced one, and their weight will come to the baby directly. So that way, so my understanding is for a lactating mother, your child doesn't have to feed a lot, especially for the weaning child, ndio akue obese or just have the enough weight. The mother can do the feeding, and through milk and lactating, it will be enough food
for the child.
Yeah.
This is a child who's not been weaned yet. So, well, I will not advocate for large meals,
big ones.
Not you don't sit down and finish a flask of porridge, for real. You don't do that. What you do is have small frequent meals,
Yeah.
because it also helps you lose that weight and stimulates your metabolism as a mother. Yeah. And then frequent breastfeeding is also important.
Frequent breastfeeding.
A breastfed child is much better than a child fed on formula.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
With the current working situations in our country,
Express
milk
and express your milk.
Yeah, and it's interesting because some working environments and companies actually allow that. They have even a room for lactating mothers to express
I've
their
seen
milk.
a couple of those
Yeah.
companies. So yeah, it's advisable. Your child should be on breast milk for as long as they can be.
Your name is Juma Likilion, listening from Thika. Thank you. I love the discussion. Thank you so much. We have someone else who's texting in. I'm Sheila N, and you are tuned in. Thank you so much, my dear, for tuning in today. We also have a silent listener from Nakuru, and you're saying, I am always locked in. Thank you so much. Please give a sample menu diet for a child 4 years old who is obese. Yeah.
Child 4 years obese.
A sample menu.
A little starch, kaugali kadogo. You can put fruits, some kidogo meat, okay? Then you put green leafy vegetables. You can blend some juices for them, okay, so that they're taking everything natural. Give them high fiber diet food as well. Yeah.
High fiber diet.
Ni chakula ya kienyeji,
Mboga ya kienyeji.
You don't really need to go going and buying all expensive supermarket stuff which has been labeled high fiber. These are just the usual things.
The
Work with
ndumas?
what we have. Yeah, ndumas, sweet potatoes, pumpkins, pumpkin leaves, kunde, the usual stuff.
Yeah. And a lot of people would actually say, mimi mtoto wangu naendanga shopping supermarket, and kama hakuli hii, now what do I do as a parent? And you said we also need to exercise tough love,
and knowing that you're doing the best for your child. So for a 4-year-old, you can give the simple stuff. If they cannot be able to chew properly and swallow, blend it, but make sure it's just well balanced. Milk is also good, very rich in calcium. Juices should be fresh, not these packaged things with a lot of sugar. Plenty of water as well.
Water helps to actually reduce obesity.
Yes,
right?
It does. Yeah.
All right. We have from Facebook Joseph Waweru. What amount of gradients contained in balanced diet a day are you supposed to eat if you're not working?
Depends on do you mean you're just sedentary, you're seated there, or what kind of working are you talking about? So
I think
your
you should
calorie
clarify
intake,
that for us, Joseph.
he needs to clarify that. But the point is that your expenditure, which means how much energy are you expending,
Yeah.
and how much energy are you taking in, there should be a balance, so that you don't have a leftover that is deposited in your body.
Yeah.
So it actually depends on what's your level of activity and what are you consuming. Then you can work with your healthcare provider to actually help you. I don't like to prescribe blanket numbers. I like to work with someone as an individual.
Wow.
That works better.
All right. We have Raymond who is saying, I just love that discussion. Thank you so much, Raymond, for tuning in today. We also have someone who is texting in, and this is a request actually. Hi, I'm Evans Ragira, listening from Machakos. Please, Sarah, request our guest to remind us of the formula of calculating the body mass index and give a clue of the right body mass index for a person living a healthy lifestyle. Maybe we should do that for the kids and for the adults. Yeah.
So now, for the adults, basically the formula for BMI, let me start there. Your weight in kilograms.
Yeah.
Okay. You take your height in meters squared. So maybe if you're 1.2 meters, you multiply 1.2 by 1.2, isn't it? Then, so your weight is maybe 70 kilos.
Yes.
And your height is 1.2 times 1.2. When you multiply 1.2 times 1.2, you get a figure there. Then you take 70 divide by that figure of meters squared.
So 70 is the weight.
70 is the weight. Weight is always in kilograms.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Then
you do
your
70,
height is in meters.
Yes.
So you say weight over meter squared. That will give you your BMI.
BMI.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Between 16 and 18 is acceptable.
If you're more than that, then you
Start
need to do
thinking
something.
about something. Yeah. When you start heading towards 19 and the 20s, shida. And now for kids, we do that. We calculate the BMI, but we group them into percentiles based on what's their age group, what's their sex, okay? Are they female or male? Then you use that figure to group them into a percentile. So if you're getting anything over 85%, then that's a problem. So that's how you do it.
All right. Sawa. Mr. Director, please repeat what you've said so that I can get it clearly. And if it's a question, pia niambie tuulize, because we have someone else who is texting in. Anasema, hello, Sarah. I really love the discussion. Please talk about the kind of foods that I need to give to my already obese child.
So
Foods.
if a child is already obese, try and reduce the carbohydrate intake. Try and reduce the fat intake.
Yeah.
Don't completely eliminate it.
Don't eliminate, but
reduce the portions and increase activity. We aim for a balanced diet, and we also aim for foods that are rich in fiber. Yes. So reduce the fats, reduce the carbohydrates, okay? But increase fiber content.
What about water?
Also increase water content.
Okay.
But people don't like drinking water as much, but it's very important.
It's important.
It's
All right.
important.
You said something about when your BMI is above 19, especially for grown-ups, and for the child when it is above the recommended level. We should start thinking about something. Those were your words. And my director is asking, start thinking about something. Please help us understand.
Start thinking about, how do I get into a healthier lifestyle? What modifications do I need for myself?
Yeah.
Which foods do I need to eliminate from my diet? If you drink a lot of soda every day, if you eat chips all the time, if you don't exercise, start thinking about those things. Otherwise, when you get BMIs going above 25 in adults, then you're at risk of adults and children, okay? You're at risk of heart disease, a risk of fatty liver disease, you're at risk of hypertension, you're at risk of bone and joint disorders.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are diabetes. So there are many, many risks when the BMIs are high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so between 18, 19, 20, that's safe. When you start going above 20, 22, 24, 25 there, start
need to
thinking
start
about
thinking.
it. Mm.
All right, sawa. We also have someone who is saying, do I have hope for my obese child? It's actually giving me depression as a mother.
Oh.
This is serious, you know?
Oh.
Yeah.
How old is the child? I'd like to know, but there is hope.
Mm-hmm.
There is hope because there's multiple interventions that can be done,
Mm-hmm.
and it will require a multidisciplinary approach.
Mm-hmm.
And as well, also just taking care of the child's emotions, because the kids are also affected by this. The mother might also need counseling.
Yeah.
So it requires a multidisciplinary approach.
Mm-hmm.
Things can change. There is hope. It's not a death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's this notion that when you take warm water, it will help to reduce your BMI and your weight.
That's a myth, man.
That's a what?
That's a myth.
Really?
That's a myth,
It
man.
doesn't help?
Come on. Not really.
Wow.
Just take water. Doesn't matter whether it's warm or...
Oh, cold.
Yeah. It's just water.
But does water in general actually help?
It does, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Detoxification.
Okay.
But then
Alright.
again, it doesn't melt away fats and make you lose weight. Contrary to what people say, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. But it's important to take water all the time.
Mm-hmm. What about if you add some lemon on the water?
Lemon is good. It's actually been shown to have beneficial effects, especially with weight loss.
Yeah.
Mm.
I saw a lemon, people. We take a lot of lemon, and especially if you cut a slice and put. And you know, you talked about people who do not like to take water, and lemon can be a sweetener.
Exactly.
Sweetener, sweeten your water.
Lemon, a
Better.
little honey,
Mhm.
that goes a
Wow.
long way.
All right.
Mm.
I'm not leaving out this one. Okay. This is from Queenswick, Komarok. He's saying, sincerely speaking, this program inatufunza sana. Aluta continua.
Oh, thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, that is Dennis Otuya from Queensway, Komarok. Asante sana for the feedback. We really appreciate this. And we also have someone else who's saying, my name is Maria. Thank you so much for that discussion. I am now on the lookout, especially for my children, so that we are not obese as a family.
Great. Keep it up. Keep it
Yes.
up. I like that.
Yeah. And then there's someone else. I'm trying to get that comment. It came in a little bit earlier. I like the fact that we said we all need to play a role, especially in the family setting. Sometimes a mother might be willing, but the husband is the one who is taking out the children for
Ooh.
meals, and especially fatty meals.
Oh boy.
We all need to play a role.
Husbands, take care of your families.
Please.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Please, guys, take an active role. And then, you know, the other thing, if the father has a kitambi, is there hope for the kids? And the kids actually watch what you do.
Yeah.
The kids watch what you eat. They watch you gorging down all that nyama choma over the weekend with chips. And then you add beer. So, first of all, be a good role model. Fathers can also be very active in selecting what the family eats, making sure that their family has a balanced diet.
Okay.
Yeah, don't just come home and expect to eat what is laid out there. At least play a role. Yeah. Fathers also have a role in educating their children on what to eat and what not to eat. Fathers have a role of exercising with their children. Why not? Spare some time for your kids. Yeah,
Wow.
so it's good to be a role model in this as fathers. Don't just leave it to the mothers alone.
You know, and then I'm also thinking, talking to your children about weight, that is what most parents avoid, because you feel like, hey, what if I make him feel bad? Woishe feeling. I feel like this is also contributing to the high number of obesity in our children.
Exactly. Do what is best for your child. If it means tough love, tell them. Direct them, because your children will mimic what you do. You understand? If you're the same person who is eating chips kila wakati,
Yeah.
and you're trying to talk to them about don't eat this, don't do that, you're wasting your time. So
Yeah.
lead by example and educate your children. Teachers in schools also need to play a huge role in
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there medication for obesity other than nutrition and exercising?
Yes, for people who have lipid disorders, yes.
So it depends with the medical condition
Depends
of a person.
on the condition.
And it must be diagnosed.
It
right?
must be diagnosed. You can't just go over the counter and start saying, I'm obese, give me this. No,
Yeah.
no. It has to be properly done, properly diagnosed by a doctor.
I am really sad that this show has come to an end, but again, we have to give way for the next show, Manam Nagani. Well, thank
Nzuri
you
sana.
so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure you have learned something, a thing or two at least, because from the number of feedback, I know someone has learned something.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Say hi to your beautiful sister for me.
Hi, Linda. How are you? We managed to prank them, Linda. We managed
these guys
to
pranked us. But
we
anyway.
managed to pull it, Linda.
Well, thank you so much, Sylvia, for coming today. And have yourself a beautiful evening.
Thank you for feeding me spiritually.
Wow.
I cannot wait for Chuck Smith. I do that every night, by the way.
Awesome. So you too can stay tuned. And remember that our WhatsApp numbers and the SMS lines are always open just for you. Text in any feedback you have, any concerns you have, because we also address that, and anything that you think we can do better. 0786316316, that is on WhatsApp. SMS line 20316. But for now, it's a good night from me and the whole crew of This Is The Day, my very able producer Jadel Kabiro and Mr. Director Mr. Chris. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Have yourself a lovely evening. My name is Sarah Otieno.